We've got 12 games to go through tonight. Last night did not go as planned for me, and I'm sure a lot of other people. But we're back tonight. We're going to go through this 12-gamer, go through lineup study, talk about Yahoo, the presenting sponsor of the NHL Strategy Show, all that good stuff, all the normal stuff. Striker, about time to clean the house, it looks like, according to Premium Slack. I'm assuming going to listen to me while he cleans the house. I guess glad to be your podcast of choice. All right, let's see what we got. Yeah, always a late start. Yeah, I always feel like I'm on time, and then it ends up being a little bit of a late start. Who was supposed to be on? Just me. No Nolan today. Nolan's doing other stuff for the site on Saturdays. We're lucky to even get Nolan on during the week. So, no, I'll be doing most of the Saturday shows, and then we'll get Cliffy and Nolan on, and maybe EMAC will make a guest appearance every once in a while. You guys will have hopefully less of me at some point. But has anybody seen Bobby Boom? Of course. Yeah, I was talking to Boom this morning. Good distraction. There we go. That's what I like to see, Eric. How did the Bruins not destroy the Devils tonight? That is actually a really good question. So we don't have ownership projections just yet, but I would imagine those come in the next hour, probably by the time we're done. So now if I just start listening to your suggestions, I might start doing well. Yeah, it feels like a bunch of people have done well. But it's weird. I haven't really done all that well, but good to see everyone else. Not everyone else, but a bunch of people sending me tweets and stuff. So pretty cool to see. Early slate also, by the way, if you guys saw, early slate locks in 20 minutes on Draftkings if you want to go check that out. I think there's still some decent contests. I threw some lineups in the $8. We'll see if I can get something going on the 2-game slate. If not, we got a 12-gamer tonight, and that's sort of the main event, the main slate. So we'll go through everything. Want to give a shout out quick to Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. They're running back the $12 for tonight for NHL. Lower management fees than you're going to see on Draftkings and Fanduel. And then you're going to want to check out their NFL contests for the week. Looks like the baller, 300K baller, 30K to first, 20K to second, 10K to third. Nice flat payout structure. 10% management fee. Tough to beat that this week. You're not going to find much better than that. That's only a third full. So you guys should go fill that up. That should be the first place, at least one of the first places you're looking to get your NFL volume down tomorrow. And, if that's not your tournament of choice, you don't like to MME, you don't like to 150 max, $3 single entry, no management fee. You're not going to find a better tournament than this all weekend. That's for sure. Jake, have you dived into goalie scoring this year much? Now, I'm pretty frustrated with the goalies, but I'm kind of frustrated with the goalie scoring, just making the position more highly variant, I guess, than it already is. So that's really my only gripe with the new scoring. Other than that, though, it's not. I don't think it's that bad. The new scoring. I just think we've gotten a little. If you've been stacking, I think we've gotten a little unlucky with the first few slates. But we've also seen full stacks take it down. Eddie just took it down 2 nights ago with a full stack. So goalie scoring is dicey. It makes, I think, bad plays better plays. It's just like, yeah, I'm frustrated with Shabbat this season. No, I'm not frustrated with Shabbat. Polak, yeah, I'm a little frustrated with Ryan Polak. A little frustrated with him, I'll be honest, but not frustrated enough for me to not play him tonight. So we will see, man. We will see. All right, I'm gonna start up this crunch. Hopefully it's done by the end of the show. That might even be a stretch. Oh, by the way, McElhinney's starting, not Vasilevsky, for Tampa if you're playing the early slate. So you can do a global swap on DK if you had in Vasi. Does Lafayette or Ship My Money play NHL? I remember one of them with you last year on a show. No, I've never done an NHL show with either of those two guys. I don't think either of them play NHL DFS. I know Lafayette's in like a pickup hockey league. I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. But no, they don't play NHL DFS as far as I know. Okay. Yeah, once again, check out Yahoo. $10 baller. Pretty cool tournament if you like to MME. As well as the rest of their tournaments. A lot of 10 max stuff going on here. So even if you like to dip your toe and get 10 lineups down, don't have to get the 150 outside of the $10 here. All right, let's look at lineup study quick last night. And I had nothing going. A couple familiar names at the top. Slewfoot, Laker Great. Both I saw were doing pretty well last night. I'm not sure I recognize this username, but is it snowing for you now? Yeah, it is. It's snowing outside. Matt, yep. I think Matt was way up there, actually, last night. He kind of dropped down at the end. These 3 gamers are brutal for your mental health. Smaller slates as I enter in a 2-game slate. So, actually, it was a pretty decent night for a bunch of the 150 guys. They didn't get crushed. Yeah, EMAC was on the show. There we go. That's what it was. EMAC, you playing NHL tonight? I'm assuming if you're watching the show right now, you're probably playing NHL. What was the lineup that took it down? Single bullet, 20K. I don't recognize that username, but 20K on a single bullet. Brock Nelson, I think I had 1 share out of 100. He got 2 points, and there wasn't a ton going on in the slate anyways. Hoffman, wow. So this guy, I mean, Raquel, Kasha, this is like a cash lineup. Pesci at 4,600, that would not have been a cash play for me, but yeah, worked out for this guy. I don't know if there's a lot we can learn from that lineup, but let's see. Always like to look at Slewfoot. I don't think you guys mind if we take a look at him. Malgin, I was kind of on this play. He was grading out actually pretty well for me. Maybe whatever Slewfoot uses, whether it's his own projections or elsewhere. Yeah, I did think Malgin was actually a pretty decent play. 2.3% owned. I ended up at like 7-8%, somewhere in there. Actually won on the 1 p.m. show. I'm entering 4 p.m. now, and of course I'm playing the 7 p.m. Apples and Genos. There you go. EMAC trying to hit his DK achievements. I like that. Crown Life. EMAC's probably got it all mapped out. How much volume he has to play to get all the Apples and Genos to get the. It's probably like 20K crowns or 25K crowns. Seth Jones. Again, nothing super flashy here. I mean, maybe the Malgin one-off and on his top 2 lineups, but just really good plays all around. He just plays perfectly, it seems like. Bobrovsky, I mean, his losing goalie was in his top 4 lineups, right? So, wait, did Bobrovsky lose? I can't remember if Florida actually ended up winning that game or what. I thought Middlestat won it with a... you guys are probably going to yell at me in chat before. Yeah, so Bobrovsky lost. Losing goalie could still be done on a 3-game slate. That's crazy with the new scoring. But I don't even know that he saw a ton of volume. He just had the right pieces around. And it's not like he took it down, but top 5 profited for good old Slewfoot. Whoa. Did this guy have second and third? Okay, $17,000 profit. Wow. Slewfoot U versus Tessie. Yeah, I mean, early in the season, it looks like Slewfoot is clearly the best player. Slewfoot's incredible so far this season, not shockingly. All right. What else do we got here? 3-game slate's tough to take a ton from lineup study, but just wanted to look at one of the best guys around. Let's talk about these games. not these games. This game is on the early slate. This game is on the early slate on DraftKings. I don't even think this game is on anything on FanDuel. I don't even know if they did a single game or what. It was getting errors when I was doing the projections. Projections were updated a couple times. Apologies if the rankings were incorrect there for a while. I keep messing stuff up because of the new column that they added to FC, which is a good column, average time on ice they added. So if you guys, like if you have a system in Excel and you download the player list from Fantasy Cruncher, you're going to want to make sure all your VLOOKUPs or whatever index matches are still correct with the new column. All right, here we go. Devils and Bruins. We've got a 2.4 implied total for the Devils, 3.5 for the Bruins. Corey Schneider, Tuukka Rask, both confirmed here. And it's a good thing we're starting off with this one because I think we're going to see some pretty hefty Boston 1 chalk. They are the least expensive of kind of the upper tier lines tonight. If we just sort by DK price for them, that's Tampa, 23-2. So they're the most expensive line on the site tonight. Colorado 1 is 23K. Boston 1, 20,900. So you're just getting a really big discount on them compared to Colorado 1. And I think for a lot of people, Boston 1 is just going to be grading out as just a better overall play, like raw point play. So you add in the value. It's so restrictive to play a $23,000 line tonight on a huge slate. It's going to depend on ownership, of course. Now that we do have ownership, that's always nice. I think Reimer is going to go. Is he? I don't know about that. We'll see. I'll update, though. I'll, of course, update projections and rankings and all that. If you are a premium member, you'll have access to those, Alex's projections, with a little bit of my spin on them as well. Do we know the Nashville goalie yet? We do not. But anyways, Boston 1. I think they're probably the best play on the slate. Ownership is going to be up there. I don't think it's going to get out of hand for a 12-gamer, but absolutely nothing bad I could say about them. Other than that, maybe it's not a perfect matchup if they go up against Heischer Hall and Palmieri at 5-on-5. That's the Devils' best 5-on-5 line. You could see a scenario in which both these teams kind of lock it down. Both these lines kind of lock it down if they're up against each other for an extended period of time. I don't even know if that's going to be the case. Boston has kind of just rolled their lines at 5-on-5. So maybe they do that here. And I think it's a massive advantage for Boston 1 against any of these other three lines for the Devils. The Devils have been bad. They were terrible defensively last year. Wouldn't expect them to be all that improved overall with this defensive core. They got Subban, nice addition, but I'm not sure he makes them a ton better defensively overall. Other side, not on Devils 1. Even though they are super cheap, without accounting for anything, just other than raw projection, I mean, the 2.4 goals is obviously worrisome. Really tough if they're going to see a lot of time against Boston 1. Right now I have one share of New Jersey 1, and that will probably go to 0 by the time we get to lock. What's up, Fabsy? How's it going? Line A is in a great spot. Agreed. We'll get there. Devils PK has been trash. There you go. Vots is on it. I mean, it's just an incredible spot. So no reason to get away. No one like Subban in his power play article. If you guys want to check out Nolan's article, I've got it pulled up here. So let me pimp this in chat. That is free. We've also got my cheat sheets right here. I'll post those in chat. Those are also free. So if you want to do some reading or look over some stuff once the show is over, feel free to check those out. All right. Krug 4,600. I haven't figured out a way to do this in Cruncher outside of maybe make Krug a key player, but I would like to only play Krug as much as I can with Boston 1 lineups because I think there is a pretty good correlation, like he is on the power play with them. He's not going to see a ton of 5-on-5 time with them, I don't think, as Boston one probably skates with McAvoy and Chara most of the time, but 4,600 here. And just power play time alone with Bergeron, Marchand, and Pasternak is too good to pass up. So Krug's going to be one of my highest owned guys. If I do end up making a group with him to only use him with Boston 1, he'll obviously come down, but I think he's going to be comfortably in double digits because Boston 1's going to be up there as one of my highest exposed lines. All right, let's go to the next game. Actually, I'll try to mention goalies. Rask at 8,400. I'll end up with some of them when I correlate goalies. It's 8,400 for a goalie with the new scoring. Like he's not going to project all that much better than like a $7,300 road underdog. So that's the kind of the frustrating part with the goalies. All right, Blues, Canadiens, 2.8 implied total on both sides here. Binnington, Carey, Price expected to go for their teams. No one confirmed just yet. Let's see. What do we got here? Danault, Tatar, Gallagher. That's a line that's been really good at 5-on-5. They hard matched them last year at times. I don't know if they're going to do that, though, this season. Shen, Schwartz, Tarasenko would be the line they would probably get hard matched against. And I kind of hope they just roll lines here because that would make it more appealing for not only Montreal 1, but also I think the St. Louis side. Right now, my highest exposure here is Montreal 1. Wait, what? Why Subban? He's been terrible and now against good defense. I mean, we're, 4 games in the season? How many games have the Devils played? 3? Well, you got to give them a minute. Guys are going to have bad 5-game stretches. Guys are going to have probably bad 10-game stretches that you're going to want to play almost every night. So you can't take too much away from, where this is October 12th. Like we need to give these guys a minute to hit their averages or whatever their expected stats are going to look like. Bozak replaced Sammy Blais in the third period last game. Screwed me out of first place. Dang, that's too bad. That's actually an interesting. So like on a slate like tonight, where you think that there might be lines chopped up during the middle of the game, and St. Louis isn't really a team that does that since they hired Berube, or since they had Berube as head coach. So I wouldn't be too concerned if Blais starts the game. But if he starts the game with Perron and Ryan O'Reilly, but if like a team like Ottawa or Anaheim that's been constantly switching up their lines, I would just probably disregard them on a slate if I thought that was a pretty good possibility on a 12-game slate. So Danault, Tatar, Gallagher, they've just been really good at 5-on-5. I think almost like an 800-minute sample going back to last season. So I'm good with firing them up whenever they're cheap, and it's a low total. So I've got them as a very, very good value, and they're going to get a little bit of ownership, but I don't think it's going to be nearly out of hand to where I would need to get different. Just trying to play what I think the best plays are, and I think Montreal 1 is one of my favorite values. So I hope this scares people away from them. 2.8 implied total. Subban only good one on the power play, so need Boston to take penalties. I don't think that's very likely that Boston's going to take a lot of penalties, just in general. Reimer or Binnington? Wait, is Reimer confirmed? Where are you guys seeing this? If so, I'll update that, of course. I usually update stuff right after, because oftentimes you guys point stuff out to me that's missing. Where are you guys seeing Reimer? Oh, that's right. Okay. All right. Makes sense. Yeah, Reimer is probably going to go. You guys are correct on that. Anyways, Price at 7,900, Binnington 77. Actually, oddly enough, I'm getting more Binnington, I think, than Price. I think if St. Louis does win this game, I think you're going to see pretty good volume from Montreal. I've got them projected to see a good amount of shots, so I don't mind Binnington as like a one-off. I'm not stacking as much this season, but on a bigger slate, it's I think it's more viable because you're just looking for a win and a 75 percentile outcome from your goalie. Like if you can find the goalie that's gonna get a shutout on a 12-game slate, be my guess. But I'm more okay with correlating even with the new scoring on the bigger slates. The defenseman, not really interested in much of anyone. Man, I don't even know if I got 3% Justin Falk for whatever that's worth, 4,400. I mean, whatever. Let's go to the next game. Toronto, Detroit, 3.6 implied total for the Leafs, 3 flat for the Red Wings. Frederik Andersen, Jimmy Howard expected to go. I wonder if we're going to see some Leafs chalk here because I'm not that crazy about the Leafs tonight. So Matthews, Andreas Janssen, and William Nylander, they're not that expensive. They're not like Colorado 1 expensive or anything like that. Once again, I kind of like the Tavares line a little bit better as a full stack, and I've been wrong on that a bunch this season, but similar numbers, and it seems like Matthews always gets the ownership, and with him scoring a bunch of goals early, maybe some people gravitate towards him and his line mates a little bit more. So my two favorites here are Tavares line and the Larkin line, of course. Man, they can't price this Larkin line up enough for me to get off of them. Toronto is expected to be a high event matchup for them. And then you just, like, if you go through and give each line a share of the scoring, Detroit 1 is probably going to account for a lot of that. And hope Wings take it to their old coach, Babcock. Yeah, there you go. There's your narrative for today. No, I think they've been sticking together, too, since they've been put together late last season. So that's good to see with their coach. Had Dubois, and he was about the only decent guy. Even he wasn't great. Yeah, I think he scored, but unassisted. Man, we cannot get these full line goals. They're just not coming. Maybe on the bigger slate, they will. Detroit 2 is just super cheap. Let's see. Where am I at for them? I didn't notice them come up a bunch. No, only got to 2 shares out of 150 for them. They're just not that enticing tonight. Probably going to spend a lot of time against the top 2 lines for Toronto. And that's not, like, I think they're going to get overpowered probably by whatever line they go up against. Hopefully they go up against Tavares. Larkin, I'm hoping it's the better of the Matthews line. And, yeah, so those are kind of the 2 I'm focusing on. I feel like I'm always mean to Matthews, but I just never end up on him as much as the Tavares line. And usually the ownership is a little bit more on the Matthews line unless the pricing discrepancy is huge between the 2. But tonight, let's see what the difference is. I could do mental math, but no one wants me to be doing that here. Toronto 1 is 18-7. Toronto 2, 18-1. So really close. I prefer Tavares. That's all. D-men here, not primary targets for me. Morgan Riley at 6,600. Man, that's tough, even though it is a pretty good power play spot for the Leafs. That's like you're getting into Brent Burns, Roman Josi territory, and I'd rather not pay that kind of money for Morgan Riley, especially on a huge slate like this. Who's your low-owned stud player? Mine is Mantha. Well, I don't think Mantha's going to be low-owned. 6,200. Bertuzzi's probably going to be the guy that gets left off a lot of Detroit stacks. So, yeah, I wouldn't call Mantha low-owned relatively for tonight. He's probably going to be under 10%, but that's pretty high for this slate. Let's move it to the next game, Florida and the Islanders. Samuel Montembeau. I can't remember how it's pronounced. Anyways, Varlamov expected to go for the Islanders. Islanders played last night. I usually just for the back-to-back just rely on what Vegas is thinking as far as the implied totals. I'm a little bit surprised that it's only a just over a 5.5 implied total here, but I do like the Barzal line. They kind of disappointed last night. Tough spot in Carolina, but they've just been really high event at 5-on-5. Florida also played last night, back-to-back on the road. I don't know, usually give the bump to the home team when in doubt. And the Islanders have been a pretty good defensive team going back to the start of last season. So I won't be having a lot of Florida stacks in my lineups. Tonight, man, did I get any? I guess this isn't official just yet, but running crunches, I kind of know where I'm going to be at right now, and it's not going to be with a lot of Florida skaters. But I will have some Barzal line, that is for sure. I don't think a lot of people are going to be on them, but they're kind of in that Montreal 1 mid-tier value range for me. I do like them quite a bit. Not going back to Brock Nelson after last night. I swear I never get that guy right. Feels like he always gets multi-points on these slates where there's shorter games, and I always get Brock Nelson, which is never fun for anyone. Pulock, 4,600. Love him. Just got a big shot and plays on the top power play, or expected to play on the top power play. Not sure about Letty's status. He didn't play last night for undisclosed reasons. He could be back tonight. He may not. But he's not really a guy I'm targeting anyways. So I think you're getting a pretty nice discount on Ryan Pulock. Next one here. Blue Jackets, Hurricanes. We are probably going to see Elvis go for Columbus. I think that's right. Who do I have in for Columbus? I think I have, the CLS-CBJ difference. They need to just, for the acronym for the Blue Jackets, there just needs to be a uniform abbreviation. All right. Yeah. Elvis, don't know how to pronounce his last name. Just search Elvis. You'll find the goalie I'm talking about for Columbus. Going up against probably Reimer for Carolina. So Carolina won. Really, really, really like them tonight. I'll always play some lines that I think are going to be low-owned or low-ish owned on bigger slates. So there's a couple, I think, that are probably a little less obvious tonight. Carolina won pretty obvious with 3.4 implied total. Why won't they play Elvis? Is he down? I don't know. I'll probably make that mistake a bunch of times. Is he in the AHL or something? What am I missing on Elvis? You guys always correct me if I get a bunch of stuff wrong, I'm sure. Oh, very funny. All right. Carolina won. I do really like a lot here. They're right now a top 5 line for me, which is pretty exciting. I really want to see where we're at on ownership. They disappointed last night. Aho was pretty quiet. So I'm looking to fire them up on the back-to-back here. Their numbers are absurd going back to last season, and I do like numbers. So if I just sort by some of the top lines, like by high danger chances for, they are, well, these are their numbers from this season. But last season they have incredible numbers. This season, 60 minutes, small sample. But they're doing closer to what they did last year, which is encouraging. 37, almost 38 scoring chances per 60. 18 high danger chances for per 60 at 5-on-5 in 60 minutes so far. So I'll play that line anytime against Columbus. They are also on the back-to-back, both of these teams. But again, give a little bit of the edge to the teams that are, or the lines that are 5-on-5, and if they're at home, even better. So I expect Carolina to crush in the shot department once again. I think they lead the league in expected goals over the first couple games of the season. Not that shocking. I think they're awesome. And Dougie Hamilton, I think he's awesome too. 6,800 on a big slate like this. I don't know. Is he Brent Burns yet? I don't think he is. It's kind of a rhetorical question, but yeah, he's not Brent Burns. If you wanted to pay up to be contrarian, sure, but 6,800 is really tough tonight. There's just first of all, I want to play a lot of expensive lines tonight. There's guys for much cheaper. There's Krug that I mentioned. I know not the same type of player, but like Seth Jones on the other side, under 6K. You've got Letang, mentioned Polak, Shea Theodore. I don't know. There's a lot of other good value defensemen, and I don't see Dougie I don't see Dougie hurting me tonight for 6,800, even if he has a huge game. I don't think he's going to be in a lot of lineups where you'll need to have him. It's not like a Burns, a 6-game slate where Burns is 7K and, he's 25% owned, where you're done if he probably gets multiple points and you don't have him. This is a little bit different situation, so I'm more likely to just go with guys that are valuable and do have similar upside as Dougie. Nothing on Columbus that I'm too keen on tonight. Let's see if they snuck in. Well, I got some Columbus 1. I think I might taper that down a bit because right now I'm at 7%. Actually, that's a little bit too high. That's pretty substantial if you're trying to spread out your exposure tonight. And I don't think it's that good of a spot. Carolina is so tough at 5-on-5. They just don't allow a lot. And the Stahl, Svechnikov, McGinn trio has been pretty good. Pretty good offensively at 5-on-5, I should say. Defensively, they haven't been good so far from a advanced numbers perspective. Dougie is out tonight? What? You guys making stuff up? Let me see this. Now you guys make me search stuff. I hope it's not true, but let's see. You guys are making me search for Dougie Hamilton being out. All right, well, I don't see anything wrong with Dougie Hamilton, so I'm going to go with he's in. Let's move it on to the next game before chat has too many more hot takes. Detroit 1 chalk, Zach asks in chat. They'll be up there, I think. They'll be a top 5 or 6 own line. Let's go to the Jets and the Blackhawks. This one should be pretty fun, I think. Hellebuck and Robin Leonard in net. No Corey Crawford. Blackhawks switching up their lines quite a bit. I didn't even see that. Yeah, okay. Clearly a troll. Tays with the Brinkat and Kajula. Gross. Why is Drake Kajula on the top line of any team? Strome, Shaw, Kane. Now that's much, much better, I think. I think even the third line of Cam Sod and Dominic Kubalik. We'll go with Kubalik. It's probably, that name doesn't sound like it's American, so I think I'm probably messing up the pronunciation there, but you guys know what I'm talking about. This fellow right here, $3,100, has shot a bunch in his first couple games. This line just dirt cheap if you wanted to stack up a Colorado 1 or Boston 1 and jam in a couple studs afterwards. I think Chicago 3 is at least viable tonight. What's going on here? I think that's yesterday's. I don't think it is. I don't know. Maybe it is. Okay. Favorite line, though, has to be... Well, it's close, actually. I shouldn't say has to be, because it's close between Chicago 2 and Winnipeg 1 for me in this game. Winnipeg 1... Chicago doesn't have a line that I think can shut down Winnipeg 1. Tays, Brinkat, Kajula, I don't think they have a good chance of limiting Scheifele, Laine, and Wheeler. Does Tays still have a reputation as being like a shutdown center? Or did he ever? Or am I just making that up? I don't know. It seems like every time he plays with anyone, like the numbers against that line. Like he's always a line I want to target, no matter who he centers. So maybe he never had that reputation before, but maybe Vots knows and can help me out there. I don't know. I always felt like he was regarded as a center, like a shutdown guy, and he's just not. Is that correct? No way. Now people are... All right, now you're going to make me look at this too. God, I'm just going to have to start banning people, I guess. You guys can't resist your trolling. Maybe this is true. Is this true? God, you guys make this show go so slow when you do this. Give me mod status, please. How do I do that, bots? Let me... All right, there we go. I think I can add you. There you go. I think you are a mod now, bots. Okay, cool. Emacs mod, taking out the garbage. All right. What else do we got here? What else do we got? Winnipeg 2, I did get to some of those, some stacks. They're under 5% for me. They're a secondary play behind all the other good value that we talked about so far, for me at least. I wish we had ownership right now because I really want to see where both of these lines are going to be. It's going to be a popular game. I just wonder, is everybody going to gravitate towards Chicago 2, or is it going to be kind of spread around between Winnipeg 1 and 2 because of the difference in price point? I would have to imagine Chicago 2 is pretty popular tonight. With Kane, you get Strome and Kane on the PP1, Shaw, whatever, but he's 4,600, so you're just getting some cheap exposure to Kane, and obviously you love that. Okay. There we go. Ask and ye shall receive. NHL ownership. All right, let's see what we got. Let's see if anything's weird here. Whoa. I think this ownership's off. So we'll wait for that to update. I think, yeah. We'll wait for this one to update. I think there was an error in the spreadsheet somewhere. So we'll wait for that. And I'm going to play a bunch of Chicago 2. I'm going to play a bunch of Winnipeg 1. And for defensemen here, I thought Morrissey would project a little bit better for me, but he's not a guy that I'm getting to all that much. I would like to get someone with some sort of regularity on Winnipeg because there's just minutes to go around. Like someone's got to eat them up. Someone's going to probably block a bunch of shots and play PP1 minutes. So Morrissey at 4,700 is kind of my favorite candidate here. On the Hawk side, it's pretty simple for me. It's Gustafsson. Was he playing on the third pairing last game? Now that I see it, I thought he played. Yeah, didn't he play with Keith last time out? So maybe you give him a bump down in minutes a little bit. He played 23 and 25 minutes the first two games. If he's playing anywhere close to that, he's one of the best values in the slate at 5K in this kind of game with two Swiss cheese defenses. But I will keep an eye on Gustafsson because I did bump him up a little bit. Hulo Nola, I like that name. Boom probably is just loving that, Raj. Yeah, Nola is a guy, 3,400. He's kind of the obvious value there, but I was worried. He only played like 16 minutes last game. I thought he was going to see over 20 playing in the top 4. So I'm just a little bit worried about Nola's minutes. I guess for 3,400, you could deal with 17. All right, here we go. Here's the ownership now. All right, cool. Bergeron, Kane, Pasternak up there. That makes sense. Boston 1's going to be the chalkiest stack. I don't think there's any doubt to that. Then it looks like Dallas 1 we haven't gotten to. Chicago 2. Yep. Okay, so only a handful of guys in double digits here. I'd say probably like 12, 13 guys in double digits. That's pretty reasonable, I think. So, I don't know. I'm looking forward to the slate. McKinnon's getting some ownership, but let me look at where Landeskog and Rantanen are. Yeah, people will play some McKinnon one-offs, line mates a little bit lower. Man, ownership, pretty slick. Nice tool to have. All right. Oh, Alex is in chat. Cool. Said my bad. No, don't worry about it at all. Ownership is very helpful, and I think it's been really good so far. So only going to get better as we get more data. So Alex has been working hard behind the scenes to provide this for premium members. Once again, if you want to be a premium member, promo code Hit the Ice, 50% off your all-access Awesemo Plus membership. Or we've got express packages where you get the rankings and all the other stuff besides the projections, premium Slack, all that. We've got, of course, the year-long package. I think kind of the best value. You get projections from Alex and myself. Rankings, Slack is a huge addition for NHL specifically because of the last-minute changes. You got about 25, 30 minutes to react and change line combos around if you use Fantasy Cruncher. So it is a huge help. Guys like Bots and Chris Wassel and Nolan in there, along with all of our subs, Stryker and Co. Boom, giving out some pretty good analysis. And, I didn't even mention Cliffy, who will be on a show coming up here as well. But, yeah, so that's a little bit about the NHL Premium Package. I think it is a pretty good deal, especially when you add in the ownership projections. That is a really cool deal we've got. I don't know if there's really good ownership projections anywhere else in the industry. For NHL, that is. All right, let's go to the next game as I went on a little bit of a diatribe there. Caps, Stars, 2.8 implied total for the Caps. 2.7 for the Caps, 2.8 for the Stars. What do we got here? Samsonov and Khudobin in net. I think this total went up a little bit since the goalies were announced because it's not Holtby, it's not Ben Bishop, so it makes sense that the total would go up a little bit. I think it was shading towards under 5.5. Now it's a little bit towards the over. The one thing that sticks out in this game, same lines for Dallas. The one thing that sticks out is just Dallas 1's price. They just should never be this cheap. And it's kind of annoying because they're going to be popular. And if you look at the ownership projections, they're up there. They're not at the top. But like Seguin, Radulov, Ben at home against anyone for these prices. Let's see, what are they at in total? Let me do a quick look here. I've got all the line prices. Where are they at? Oh, Dallas 1. Here we go. 17.6 on DraftKings. That is the 12th highest price stack tonight. That's absurd on DraftKings. So just too good a value. Because I think the perception of the spot is that it's an okay spot. I think it's a really, really good one. So I'm kind of mad they priced this down so much because it's going, like, if they were priced up closer to Dallas 1 or Boston 1, I should say, or closer to Winnipeg 1, I think people would just disregard this spot. And I wouldn't have. I would have tried to force them in because you look at the numbers for the Backstrom line, 5-on-5, they are bad defensively so far this season. I think that's pretty fair to say. Again, short sample, but they were also bad defensively last season at 5-on-5, giving up a bunch of high danger opportunities, a bunch of scoring chances, shot attempts, all that stuff. And then you look at the Oshie, Kuznetsov, Verana line, and they're also pretty bad defensively in a 100-minute sample going back to last season. So those are going to be the two primary lines that they're going to skate against. So I think the 5-on-5 matchup is good. Radulov, I'd probably have him on the PP1, but I'm obviously I can get over playing Radulov for $5,300, still playing with Seguin and Ben at 5-on-5 if he's going to play the power play too. So I think it is a really awesome spot for Dallas 1 despite this total. but everyone's going to be on it now. Dallas can't score. I mean, maybe they haven't been able to so far, but it seems like this should be a spot where they would be able to score. This trio together is just so nasty. I think they do have a pretty good opportunity to generate a ton of chances at 5-on-5 here, no matter who they go up against. So just too cheap, way too cheap in my eyes. Klingberg, 5,500. I think they priced him closer to correct. I will have some shares, but not a guy I'm going out of my way to jam in unless you're trying to run 4-man stacks. That's your guy with either of the top two lines, I think. Hintz, Pavelski, and Janmark on that second line too. Not a bad secondary option for me, but nothing more than a filler stack when I'm trying to get an expensive Boston 1 or Colorado 1 or something like that. And people might disagree with me on that. I see some Dallas 2 talk. Tommy Bomb. They're a fine play too. I just prefer the big guns, the big three. Let's see here. All right, I don't have anything much that I'm interested in playing on the cap side, so I'll skip past that. Penguins, Wild, 2.7 implied total, 2.8 for the Wild. Matt Murray, Devin Dubnyk. This is the Wild's first home game. You would expect, as they usually do, to have Koivu going up against the opposing top line. I think it's more clear than ever with Pittsburgh that their top line is Crosby, Gensel, and Dominic Simone. Here, I want to like Minnesota, or at least I feel like I should like something here because they're so cheap. And we just talked about Dallas being cheap. Well, they have the same implied total as Dallas, and Stahl's 4,100. I think Fiala is a really good value at 3,300. Just too talented for that price, playing with a good center in Stahl. And then Greenway, he's really young. He hasn't done a ton so far, but I think that's an interesting top line. So I'm probably going to play some Minnesota 1. Was surprised to see the ownership on Stahl. He's up. Let's see where he's at. He's in double digits right now. I mean, I wonder where's Greenway? Yeah, Greenway below 5%. So as a full stack, I don't think you should have any issue stacking them up. They're just way too cheap. Now the question is going to be, do these guys stay together? Who knows? Honestly, who knows? But they're just way too cheap. Boudreau probably feeling his seat's getting a little bit hot. This is probably a game you need to win if you're the Wild, if you're Boudreau. So he's going to try everything if they get down early. Pittsburgh put Hornquist on the McCann-Cahoon line. That makes that line look a little bit better. But if I'm going to a Pittsburgh line, it's probably going to be the top one. And I know it's not a great matchup. I know Minnesota historically plays a ton better at home because they have had Koivu being a good shutdown center with good line mates on his wings. Still, with Crosby, Gensel, and Simone, that line's been so good at 5-on-5, generating scoring chances and shot attempts that I'm just kind of willing to take a shot on them here on the road. It's not a great price. They're priced up. Let's see. Who are some of the other lines in their price range? So they're more expensive than Dallas 1. They are right near Toronto 2, the Tavares line. They're right near Toronto 1 as well. They're more expensive than St. Louis 1. They're more expensive than Washington 1. So I think they're just going to get disregarded here. And I like that. Just a line that can really get it done at 5-on-5. You get Gensel and Crosby on the PP. As I mentioned, maybe last time we streamed, Minnesota was one of the most penalized teams last season. I do think I like kind of both sides with the Crosby line and a Stahl, Greenway, Fiala as just a cheap filler. That's the line I'll probably take some chances on. Boom likes some Minnesota 3. I don't know if I'm there yet, but I guess Parise at 4,800 is an okay price. I just have no clue what to expect from Eriksson Ek and Luke Kunin. Cheap defenseman? Yeah, I always mention the expensive guys. I mean, Spurgeon's a pretty decent one at 4K. Some of the cheap guys I'm getting to, I'll just run through a couple. We haven't gotten to the Colorado game. I think there's some decent guys, some decent value in Girard, who's just too cheap, and then Cale Makar. Quinn Hughes, decently cheap. Jake Gardner, if you're stacking up Carolina 1. Rasmus Anderson, assuming he's playing with Gio at 5-on-5, more of a floor play you're looking at. Just a guy at $2,900 that's getting some minutes with the top pairing. Where's Dumoulin? Yeah, Dumoulin is 3,200. He's another guy I think is okay in this game. But yeah, that's more punting than anything. Skull crazy. Don't be sleeping on the mini boys. I'll try not to, but you would think there's got to be something decent that comes from this game. If on average they score 2.8 goals, like the prices are super, super cheap. No one above, really, Parise is the most expensive winger at 4,800. That's wild. I didn't even mean to do that. That's a terrible joke if I tried to. Dumba, 5,200. Great, I think a great option at 5,200. I expect him to kind of pick up where he left off last season. He was probably gonna be on the way to a career year, and had that stupid fighting incident where it was like NHL code that he fights after he cheap shot at someone or whatever against Calgary. But anyways, for another show, 6,400 for Letang. If you're stacking up Pit 1, that's the guy you go to. I think that'll make it even more contrarian, stacking up a $6,400 guy with a 2.7 implied total on the road with an already expensive stack. But I'm going to try to force in a couple Pit 1 stacks for sure. Dubnyk at 7,400 seems like a fishy price, but call me a fish because in my non-Pittsburgh lineups, I'm probably going to have a decent amount of Dubnyk. He's just a good value at 7,400. Only expected to give up 2.7 goals on average. Arizona, Colorado. What do we got? 2 more games? 3 more games? All right, we'll run through these quick. I don't want to go too far over time. You probably want to start making your lineups if you're watching the show. And 2.6 for Arizona, 3.2 for Colorado. Ranta, Pavel Francouz. I don't know. Is the Z silent? Is there a silent Z? Whatever. Clearly not the stream for pronunciation, but Colorado 1, crazy expensive. They're a little bit higher owned than I expected on our ownership projections. It's not outrageous. I mean, you're still getting McKinnon at under 10%. It's just the price compared to Boston 1. You have to spend $2,100 more for Colorado 1 than Boston 1. So that makes them tough to get to with any sort of frequency. I was getting to basically none of them. I changed the projections around, and you can get to them, of course, but it's just finding a line that projects okay with them. And maybe Minnesota 1 is kind of the recipe there. Not a bad duo of lines if you're looking to stack up Colorado 1. So that's the only issue with them. They grade out incredibly as a raw point play. Probably 1 or 2 in a lot of projection systems. I think they're 1 or 2 for us. Stepan Keller, Phil Kessel is a line that I actually like quite a bit. $4,500 for Stepan, 46 for Keller, and then 52 for Kessel, all in the top power play. Colorado takes a lot of penalties over the last season and change, and Arizona has played pretty high event this year, I believe. I know they did in their first couple games, but I do like how that line sets up. Is it B-Rich night? No, it's not. It's not B-Rich night. That'll come around once every DFS career, so that already happened. I wonder if I got to Be Rich. I think it's Grabner who brings the projection up for me oftentimes to where I get like one Be Rich lineup. I didn't get to any. So there you go. Even the noted Be Rich lover myself did not get up to play Arizona 3 here. You don't need to get cute on this slate. Kadri, Donskoy, Burakovsky, pretty good prices on them. I think that makes for a good secondary play. They're just way too cheap. They're right by where Minnesota 1 is, and they probably shouldn't be. They should probably be higher priced with a 3.2 total. And I don't know if you would call this a leverage play, but if they score a goal or two, they could easily be the nuts if Boston 1 goes off and you take out some of the Colorado 1 people in the process. The Wild just suck. Definitely agree, Jesse. I like Sam Girard for Colorado. 3,100, plays 22 minutes. I tend to agree with you. I do like Girard as well. Would like to get Cale Makar in there. A little bit worried about his minutes. I think he only saw 16, 17 in the last game. Would expect that to go up. I think him and Zadorov, if they skate together for the duration of the season, we'll see closer to 20 per game. So Colorado 1 plus Makar, if you can do it. Girard and Makar, I think both fine one-off plays. Then on the other side, freaking Jacob Chikrin, 3,500. Like on a per 60 basis, he's always grades out okay for me, and I always end up with him. Like right now I have 15%. I think that's a bit aggressive, but he is another guy that I think you can punt with if you call 3,500 on DK a punt. So it is what it is. He's okay. If you need someone in this range that people aren't going to be on, maybe he gets a little bit of power play time. If Colorado's taking a bunch of penalties, maybe this is one where you guys might want to check out the referees. Could be some fireworks here. Next game, Philly, Vancouver, 2.9 implied total for the Flyers, 3.1 for the Canucks, Carter Hart, Jacob Markstrom, and net. This one, interesting because I think Vancouver, a bunch of guys are dealing with dehydration and either a cold or the flu symptoms or something like that. So this one, I would be careful with this because, I like Pettersson, Miller, and Besser. I have no clue who's sick or who's not. Maybe there's been news since I got on here, but I just saw one of the beats saying that a bunch of guys on Vancouver are sick. At least that's what I thought. It was Vancouver, I'm pretty sure. Let me check this out. I'm not getting my teams mixed up, I don't think. It was someone in this game. Yeah, never mind. I got this wrong. It is the Flyers who are dealing with a bunch of illness. Maybe they'll infect Vancouver, but let me find this quote so I don't lose all my credibility if I have any. What did he say? Okay, here we go. I'll post this tweet so nobody gets twisted. You guys can make up your own minds, but it is Philadelphia that's dealing with a bunch of illness. So maybe you bump up Vancouver a little bit more. They're not sick as far as I know. Vancouver 1 is pretty cheap. Horvat is a really nice one-off if you're not doing the full stacking thing, which you've seen a lot of people get away from with the new scoring. I think Horvat makes for a really nice one-off at 4,800. This line, if it is intact, you'll know at 3.5 hours after lock or whatever. If it is intact, they have not been great defensively over the first couple games. Voracek and Giroux haven't been all that great defensively unless they're with Couturier. I'm the Canucks beat. We will mangle the Flyers 5-2. Interesting. David Mangler. I don't know if you're a Canucks beat, but Deaky Pete tonight? Yeah, dude. It's a pretty good price if we might see a watered down Philadelphia lineup. I like the call, David. I like the call. So I think I'm going to give them a manual bump up. I think I got my teams mixed around. So just to be clear, Philadelphia is the one that's dealing with illness. I don't know who's playing or who's not, but just be aware if you're playing a bunch of Flyers, you might need to swap at 9:30 Eastern. And then Edler for 6,300. That's nice. Like, I think I'd take Edler. Edler's really close with, like, Dougie Hamilton for me. And, like, you take the $500 discount on a night where you want to play a bunch of expensive stacks. And I think I would go with Edler. I was still making MLB lineups. Man, MLB Showdown. That's quite the grind. Oh, Quinn Hughes, 4,200, a guy I'm getting to as well. Just talented. Scored his first goal. Pretty cool the other night. 4,200 is an okay price for the minutes and the projection that we've got on him. Vancouver 1 and PP 1 look good as a late night hammer. I like the way you think. Calgary, Vegas, last game of the night. 2.8 implied total for Calgary, 3.2 for the Golden Knights. Golden Knights at home now arguably getting even stronger. Eakin expected to be back in the lineup. Kind of annoyed that DFO already put that in there because now everyone that has Cruncher or whatever optimizer, they're going to get the correct combos here. So we expected to be Stastny with Pacioretty and Stone. Vegas 1 stays intact. My favorite here is actually Vegas 1. So Cliffy was talking about in the premium Slack, they're just generating a ton of shot attempts. They haven't had great results. I think they've had good results, but they're just kind of swarming at 5-on-5. They're all on the power play together, so they're perfectly correlated. Even though there are kind of two units on Vegas when you've got Pacioretty, Stone, Carlson, Smith, Marsh. So I mean, you can't put all those guys in one unit. So they're a little bit balanced on their PP. Maybe that's the one downfall of them, if you want to call it that. But just way, way, way too cheap. They're a top 3 line for me actually right now. Vegas 2 taking a little bit of a back seat, even with Stastny there. Which line's gonna be more popular on our ownership projections? So let me search. I usually just search for like the center's name and see where they're at. Stastny. Where's Stone at? Not Strone. Stone and Pacioretty. So they're actually pretty low owned. Wild Bill, Marchessault, and Riley Smith. Yeah, they're really similar in the ownership projections. Eric Johnson. Hey, Jake, if you were to play one lineup, who would be your top line? If I was playing a single entry, one lineup, it would, there's so many good spots tonight. It would probably be Boston 1. That's the chalky answer, but I think there's a good chance they just trounce. You know what? Maybe it's Vegas 1. Maybe you could jam those two together. I don't even know. You might even be able to jam those two together. But yeah, it's probably Boston 1 or Vegas 1. Every time someone asks me the top line, I always give them like 2. But yeah, I really do like those two. Dallas 1 would also be up there. Carolina 1 would also be up there. All my favorite lines are playing. Islanders 1 didn't even, like, they're going to have no ownership, I think. It's really close, though. It's really close when you add in price and the projected ownership and all that. Boston 1, Colorado 1, Vancouver 1. Yeah, you guys are just mentioning all the good plays. So I think what I'm going to do is just play all the good plays tonight and see what happens. And then I think there's 2 of them here. So Vegas 1, Vegas 2. I've got Vegas 1 a little bit higher. But if you wanted to go Stastny, Stone, Pacioretty, their numbers are outrageous together at 5-on-5 going back to last season. So if they were your top play tonight, I would be like, all right, I kind of understand that with the cheap Stastny, fully correlated on the power play. Can't really argue against Vegas here. Calgary 1 would be a game theory play, I guess, at best. But where's the good matchup they're going to see, right? Like, they're going to go up against Carlson, Marchessault, Smith, Stastny, Pacioretty, Stone for the majority of the game, and they're kind of expensive relative to some of these other teams. For me, you never want to cross anyone off, or at least I try to avoid that on bigger slates, but I don't even think I need to because I got to 0 of them in my last crunch, and I even got to a New Jersey 1. So there you go. Not the night for me for Calgary 1. I think Gio makes for a fine play, though, at 6,100 as a one-off. Got to a few shares of him. Always do. But my favorite defenseman here is Theodore at 4,800. I think this is one of the lower prices we're probably going to see. We're probably not going to see Theodore too lowly priced, especially if Schmidt is out for an extended period of time. He becomes the clear top guy, and 4,800 I think is going to be a bargain in a few weeks when you look back at it. All right, so we're done with 12 games. How long did we go here? Not bad. Hour 6, hour 5. Not too bad. Thanks, Anthony. I appreciate that. Jets Hawks should be very high scoring. I think it's going to be a fun slate, so I'm excited to play. I thought I needed to make a note of something that I missed during the show that you guys told me, but maybe it'll come to me. Other than that, I'll have projections and rankings updated probably one last time. Where did you guys find out about the Flyers being sick? That was just on a beat writer list that I follow. Let me pull up the beat writer list if you guys want to follow this. I'll pull up Votz's here. Vots has a list of NHL beats, pretty good list to look at. Punt plays, like we're talking like lines. I think punt plays, Rasmus Anderson, I mentioned Sam Girard. Punt lines, I kind of talked myself into Minnesota 1, Stahl, Fiala, Greenway. I think there's some at least potential there. Man, I don't even know. Low owned, Isles 1, I think, is going to be lower owned than they should be. But there's a ton of good plays. Montreal 1, I think, is going to be lower owned than they should be. Got to make NFL money for tomorrow. That's what I'm trying to do, man. That's what I'm trying to do. So, all right. If you want to check out the rest of the football and UFC and soccer content, let me go to the homepage so I don't forget. If you guys want to check out everything, a bunch of content going on. NFL, on the contrary, just got recorded a couple hours before this. That's right at the top. Feel free to click on that. EMAC will have his primetime article out. Let's see. Make sure to check out the Nhl Dfs ownership projections. We've got a bunch of articles on NFL, everything you need. Cornerback versus wide receiver matchups. We got matchups column, comprehensive. We've got cheat sheets, power play article for NHL. There's probably some late college football picks in this article and analysis for the late slate, if that hasn't already started. Yeah, we've got it everything. It feels like every site. Favorite goalies. Let me see. Who are some that I'm getting to? Getting to some Khudobin, Marc-Andre Fleury. Freddie Anderson, I think, should see decent volume. Rask, I like. I think there's a pretty safe chance for a win. Leonard, taking a goalie in a high total game, just because if the goalie stands on its head, you're probably getting the 35 save bonus, and even if they let in a couple, 2-3 goals, you might still be okay. Favorite Chinese food? Let's see. Sweet and sour. Probably my favorite, sweet and sour chicken. Fried rice. Nothing, can't really go wrong, I don't think. Is there a wrong answer there? Maybe there is. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. Feel free to hit us with a like. It helps us continue to do this kind of stuff for free. And I'll be in Premium Slack for a little while longer. Enjoy your Saturday night, and let's make some money for NFL tomorrow. Good luck, guys.